Approximately in the late 50s of the last century, Dutch physicist Theodor van Hoven started elaboration of his version of unified field theory, since during his work on the topic he had to reconsider whole logic structure of the universe existence from the different entropic point of view. He named his work Quantum Entropic Logic Theory. Further on, this theory was developed in works of outstanding Russian scientist, academician Sviatoslav Nesterev. This theory unites all types of known interactions in the nature: strong, weak, electromagnetic and gravitational, considering them as different manifestations of one and the same initial, a terminal field or quantum field of entropy. A principle of elementary particles formation was discovered on the basis of quantum entropic logic theory, which is an important milestone in quantum physics. Calculation formula discovered within it allowed theoretical calculation of mass, charge, spins, magnetic moments, lifetimes, and other quantum properties of all elementary particles, both discovered and still unknown. Agreement of theoretical data with experimental data with an accuracy of the theory and experiment was absolute. It evidences a colossal explanatory predictive ability of quantum entropic logic theory, confirming its variety. Quantum entropic logic theory does not conflict with known conventional physical theories. It only substantiates underlying principles and sets limits of these principles' applicability. Therefore, quantum entropic logic theory is not an alternative to generally accepted theories, but it develops and extends these conceptualizations to a new level of a scientific cognition, eliminating many previously unexplainable paradoxes. For the first time, quantum entropic logic theory discovered a structure of a terminal field regarded as a structured fundamental material substance. Properties of this field are formulated and calculated. Discovered a physical nature of formons, virtual temporal states, and some other postulated objects of a modern microphysics. Formulated physical and mathematical basis for high-efficiency computed modeling of structural peculiarities, quantum properties, and interaction characteristics of all manifested and virtual microparticles, and various physical processes and phenomena as well. Quantum entropic logic theory is based on an extremely complex and unconventional physico-mathematical model of multiple vectors of time. Within it, a system of multiple vectors of time is regarded as a mathematical construction, where time of an observer is called the basis time, and the tangential vectors are divided into temporal structures, which are the base of fibering and a layer. Surrounding basic time, perceived by us as an environment, is the basis of fibering, outside of which there are time vectors in which a hidden structure of elementary particles is manifested and various hidden interactions happen. Special relativity theory describes space-time in a form of pseudo-Riemann variety with one negative proper value of metric tensor which corresponds to time-like direction. According to quantum entropy logic theory, a metric with several negative proper values will correspondingly mean a presence of several time vectors, i.e. it will be multidimensional. According to quantum entropy logic theory, a formon is an elementary particle of pro-matter. This particle has the only natural characteristic: spin. Depending on polarization vector, it is divided into informons and exformons. It is a non-manifested directly in our basic time particle, which represents the main fundamental element of a terminal field at the deepest level of space. Practically speaking, a formon may be regarded as a Planck particle. Excited state of a formon is an oscillation of this frequency. When in our basic time we observe an elementary particle, for example, quark or electron, we only register excited states of a formon. Metastable conditions of formons correspond to short-period elementary particles, including resonances. In accordance with quantum entropic logic theory, non-excited formants cannot be observed in the basic time. When formats are excited, they are polarized. They turn into a pair of close virtual particles which can unite again. This condition of formants is regarded as photon, a process of consecutive distribution of excited states from one particle to another because of alternating temporal field influence is perceived as a distribution of light, and at the same time it defines light speed in a vacuum. Gravitation in quantum entropic logic theory is regarded as a result of terminal fields, power lines, strings, shielding by elementary particles. Gravitational forces appear as a result of terminal field tension shielding, which always influence any elementary particle. Decreasing of gravitational forces causes defective mass and release of energy. That is why quantum entropic logic theory theoretically forecasts a possibility of gravitational terminal space extension, including stars, planets, and all other physical objects, including ours. Unfortunately, scientific ideas of Sviatoslav Nesterov and Theodor van Hoven appeared to be too unusual and difficult for understanding, due to extreme complexity of applied mathematical apparatus by the majority of other theoretical physicists. Besides, quantum entropic logic theory points at incorrectness of many concepts actively developed by leading physicists nowadays, which prevents a wide recognition of this original, in many ways physical theory by scientific society. It is easy to see that quantum entropic logic theory is a global and all-pervading in its consequences physical theory that can explain a great amount of the accumulated unknown in the modern science. Surely, it is not yet completely finished and, as any new theory, may contain hidden errors. However, based on its comparison of theoretical calculations and experimental data, shows its potential. It is obvious that quantum entropic logic theory is an extremely powerful tool of theoretical physics and can give an explanation, in one way or other, to almost whole amount of gathered by this day scientific paradoxes of unusual phenomena. Physical concept of Sviatoslav Nesterov and T. van Hoven has a fundamental general physics character and can influence a modern physics like theory of relativity and quantum physics, which in their time were also negatively accepted by physicists with traditional points of view. Taking into account mentioned characteristics of quantum entropic logic theory, it is most probably that the reason of all psychophysical phenomena is an intensive excitation of a terminal field of a certain vector of time. This excited state of a terminal field conditions an unusual variety of external effects of bioenergetic and psychophysical reactions. In accordance with entropic logic, specific excited states of a terminal field can change physical parameters of various environments, refraction index and light scatter parameters, which may be stipulated by change of dielectric or magnetic permeability, electroconductibility, etc., affect molecular and atomic links of substances, including influence to intercrystalline links and metastable conditions, specified electromagnetic radiation, gravitational and many other effects. Probably, degree of polarization of a physical vacuum is also significantly increases at this. Analysis of psychophysical occurrence phenomenology from the point of view of mentioned physical concepts and corresponding principal functional models of implementation allows complete explaining of many previously exciting paradoxes and moreover predict principal peculiarities of these events. It becomes possible to explain the effect of objects hanging at telekinesis and levitation. According to quantum entropic logic theory, it may be conditioned by appearance of co-directional spin orientation in an object that changes its gravitational characteristics. It must be noted that quantum entropic logic theory conforms and complements to a torsion theory by academician A. E. Akimov because it allows explaining of all torsion effects at the higher theoretical level. During elaboration of these physical concepts, neither T. van Hoven nor Sviatoslav Nesterov had no data about torsion theory and regarded spinor effects from the point of view of classic Dirac concepts. But underlying mechanisms of this theory were the physical mechanisms that could explain, and partially have explained already, almost all torsion effects. Rethinking of some part of this scientific experience will allow better understanding of physical mechanisms of quantum anthropologic theory and create devices fulfilling predicted by this concept forms of influence and corresponding effects. Many effects of non-electromagnetic component influence, for example changing of water's optical absorption spectrum, graduate accumulation and continuous maintaining of influence, are easily explained by quantum entropic logic theory and coincide with similar effects conditioned by bioenergetic influences or energy informational mechanisms. It must be noted that in accordance with quantum entropic logic theory, these effects are mainly conditioned by processes in another vectors of time in relation to the basic time, in which we observe only paradoxical end effects of these processes. Quantum entropic logic theory also allows to explain some cases of informational transfer. We can suppose that a distribution of excitation rate through a substance in a terminal field conditioned by electromagnetic emission, it really may be somehow modulated in accordance with peculiarities of atomic structure of this substance. At the most prominent achievement of quantum entropic logic theory is the explanation of a possibility of prophetic forecasting of future events, without source data convincingly shown by Baba Vanga, Edgar K.C. and Wolf Messing. No existing physical theory can present a rational explanation of this phenomenon nature. Quantum entropic logic theory has presented an accurate mathematical proof of divergent time flow. From the future to the past, vectors' existence, which from time to time cross the basic time. A terminal field specifically excited by an operator can form an information flow directed to the past and thus to create an information link between the future and the past. More specific perception about peculiarities of this group of unusual physical phenomena could be achieved only through a serious scientific program of theoretical and practical studies, implementation of which has a principal meaning for science. Shown in this lecture, prospective scientific perception of a nature of bioenergetic and psychophysical phenomena has radically changed the current situation and provided a possibility to create intelligent and efficient devices on the basis of modern methods of psychotronics. These devices help operators to fulfill required target effects and create operators from common people. Thanks to discovery of a physical nature of mentioned phenomena, their implementation by means of engineering is a question to be solved in near future. That is why using of properly trained operators and special equipment, Metatrons, allows initiating studies in a new era of physics indirectly related to bioenergetic and psychophysical phenomena. Not in a long term, but even now, and also to accelerate studies and significantly cut expenses for arranging of such studies. Therefore, at the present moment, scientists have formed a basis for intellectual breakthrough in understanding of previously unknown and rather unusual area of physics, which is a hidden reason of many unexplained by modern science phenomena. In particular, it helps to understand the nature of bioenergetic and psychophysical phenomena, unexplainable within previous physical concepts. But just like in case of any scientific breakthrough, its results will cover for the humanity expenses in a form of a great amount of areas of particular application of these scientific discoveries. Because of a great importance of psychophysics phenomena, scientific studies, works in this area can create a fundamentally new and unique in their properties devices for a broad spectrum of medical goals and biotechnologies.